Hi there, it's ProTrader7 here today, and today in this video I will be reviewing the recently released Star Wars Jedi Survivor. This is a direct sequel to 2019's Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and long and short of it, it is actually a really awesome title. So, without further delay, let's crack on. First off, let's talk about the mechanics of this game. One thing that comes to that mind is the stance mechanic. Cal Kestis can learn new stances as you progress through the game. First you start off with a single blade, and then a little bit later you'll learn a double bladed lightsaber technique. But also as you get through the progress through the game, you'll learn quite a couple of others as well. In fact, there's 3 stances that you learn in total. One that stands out for me is a 2 lightsaber stance. This is mainly focused on close range attacks and blocking. It's not really built for strength, to be honest, but it is quite quick and effective if you want to take down people quickly. The next one that comes to mind is the crossguard lightsaber stance. This is basically a powerful technique which you can take down with people with thick armour. It's, very Kylo Ren, to be honest. I think that's why they included it, just so they can appeal to the sequel fans. Which is fair enough, really, in my opinion. But the final one that you really come to see is the single lightsaber and a blaster one. This is a shout back to the Jedi Knight series, which styled the famous Cal Katarn and Jedi Academy, which was released on the Xbox and PC games. But in all honesty, I never used the blaster technique because I find it takes away from the quote-unquote Jedi experience, so I never really used it. Crossguard a little bit, but I'm mainly of a single-bladed kind of guy. But each to their own, everyone has their own, favourite. But Cal has something else on his utility belt. Sounds a bit Batman this, but this next bit I'm going to tell you is a bit Batman. So, for the first time ever, Cal Kestis has a grappling hook, which you can use to traverse through the world, each world that he comes across. And truth be told, it is a kind of a staple for most modern games that usually have an action-adventure filament to it. Hey, it worked with Halo Infinite. By the way, that single player campaign is awesome. My opinion. But enough about the stances and grappling hooks. Let's talk about the enemies. As you know, the Galactic Empire return as the usual stormtroopers and shadow troopers and stuff, as you can see throughout the last game. But also, when they come back, they're a little bit more refined. Especially like the captains and stuff. They seem a little bit more versatile in their attacks, and some of them come back with shields as well. And not to mention, paratroopers are back. It's like they said in Rise of Skywalker, they fly now. Truth be told, they always have them, but they've never been implemented in any recent games, apart from Battlefront. But what also makes another welcome return, which I've not fought against since like the prequel era games, the battle droids from the Trade Federation and the Separatist Alliance. Now, I've missed fighting these guys, and I say they've done them justice in this game. They've really given them a new lease of life, because in the storyline, they get taken over by these raiders, but they're not only normal raiders, they're quite sophisticated, and they have an agenda of their own, which is to revive a Jedi from the High Republic era, which is like 2,000 years before, no, not 2,000 years, beg your pardon, 200 years before the Galactic Republic as we know it in the prequel era. And the Raiders themselves are quite sophisticated in terms of weaponry and combat, especially their generals. Their generals are quite heavily thick, armoured. The armour's quite thick on them, so it's going to take a bit of time to knock them down. But you need a challenge in the game, because if it's too easy, it gets boring fast, doesn't it? So let's look at the Force abilities of Cal Kestis too. With this being a sequel title, he still carries over his Force push, his Force pull, obviously his late saber throw, and other things returning from the last game. But also, with it being a sequel title, he gets new abilities as well. One of the things that comes to mind is his Telekinesis Abilities. He can levitate enemies into the air now, which is like a Force rise or something, we call that. Anyway, basically levitates his enemies up, and his enemies are like stunned in the air, like floating. But also, this ability is very good at opening doors that are shut. Obviously, you get to see it as soon as you gain this ability, but you can rise stuck doors basically and find secrets behind them and stuff, like for your customization for your character. But on the same note, he also has another ability which on the same kind of category is Force Slam, which he holds the enemy in place and he slams them against the ground. That's quite handy considering if it's like, stormtroopers that are really doing your head, especially in flamethrower ones. Grab them, reach out to the Force, grab them, and then you just slam them on the ground and you just walk over and hit them with your lightsaber. These abilities are designed for combat against big armies. I'm talking big, and you're going to come across them in this game. But another Jedi power is also returning, which is the Jedi Mind Trick, which can be handy against a horde of stormtroopers or enemies. Obviously, your Mind Trick, the stormtrooper, they turn around and they give you a hand in battle. You act like your ally, like they did in the Jedi Knight games. I don't know if you've played them. In Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, and Jedi Academy, which I put them in a previous Star Wars video that I made actually. Anyway, enough of that. But it works the same way if you've played those games. But the Mind Trick doesn't work all the time, so use it sparingly when you can. And it doesn't work on captains. But there is one more ability that Cal has, and he taps into the dark side a little bit in this game, and he goes full on ballistic. He absolutely slaughters loads of stormtroopers and droids and battle droids and stuff. There's a little pivotal moment where he's in an Imperial base. I'm not going to tell you which one it is, but he taps into his dark side and he just absolutely annihilates all these stormtroopers in his base. He wipes them out completely. And this Force Rage, let's call it, is a very good ability for things like that in case you come across any hordes of stormtroopers, when you're out and about exploring these worlds in the post game. It's very, very handy. But it doesn't last forever. It needs time to recharge once your little gauge runs out. But once that's recharged, you get to use it again. And they need to do a little bit more things like this, especially Force abilities. They need to look into the expanded universe a little bit, in order to build the games. But this is a nice step in the right direction though. Force Rage absolutely obliterates them. Oh, love it. Chef's kiss. Also, Cal Kestis goes on to many different places in this game. In fact, 4 planets, 1 moon and 1 Imperial base that's based on an asteroid. Probably not that much different from its predecessor, but it does not feel as linear. It feels like for each one, like it's an open sandbox kind of, but with different corridors leading to different sections. It still has your basic 3D Metroidvania type game, which adds charm, and the environments in these planets are beautiful like they were in the last game, and it really shows it off when you play it on the Series X, because that's what I played mine on, or the PS5, whichever you prefer. And it's just absolutely beautiful, these worlds, what it travels across. And not only that, there's still puzzles to solve as you do it, like they did in the last game. So they took what made it successful in the last game and brought it into this. And let's just say, Respawn have done very well on this. But in all fairness, Jedi Survivor does has its imperfections. Like I've noticed when I've been playing it, you find a few frame rate drops here and there, but also the time it takes for the textures to load, especially in cutscenes, it don't seem to load properly. You know, especially when you're going in too fast in the game as well. But them are just a minor hang up in this. It's not really taking anything away from my experience of this title. In fact, it's probably the best Star Wars title I've ever played. And this is an EA game. So EA can make good games, especially single player experiences. Well, they have the developers Respawn to thank for that, and they did an amazing job with this title. It's almost a perfect Star Wars game. And the customization bit is really good as well. Yeah, there's plenty to choose from, including facial hair for Cal Kestis. But it's not 100% brilliant, you know, no game is, but it's come pretty close. I've had an absolute blast playing this game. Respawn Entertainment created a masterpiece. If you're a Star Wars fan, I highly recommend you pick up this game. It's awesome, simple as. Or if you just like action adventures in total, it is a really good title to play. Right, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much. Bye bye.